welcome to Chasing Spindles, my life being crappy and everything crafty. My name is Sasha, Spin Pixie on the interwebs, and today is Wednesday, March 20th, 2013, and this is episode number 3. Hi to new viewers, thank you for joining me, and to viewers who are returning, welcome back. This is going to be a short show today, a very short show. I haven't been able to do much knitting, so I'll show you what I can. So on the decks this week, not a whole lot of knitting. There was mostly working on academic stuff. So on Friday, I went to Starbucks with my sister and we started working on her carotid arteries paper. She is a medical student, and she's actually working at a hospital right now too, but she's going for, I think, ultrasound technician, or she might want to go into something else. So basically she's doing a whole lot of working on that and doesn't have a whole lot of time for writing papers. And since I was an English major, I told her I would help her out. So we went to Starbucks and sat there and talked and worked on her paper, and that's pretty much the most I ended up working on it. On Saturday, we were supposed to go to the library where she was going to study and I was going to work on her paper. And that didn't so much happen. That turned into Sasha and Sister shopping day. Now, she's the kind of person that can buy pretty much anything she wants when she wants, and I'm the kind of person who has to justify every purchase I make. Like, am I going to regret that? Is this necessary? Do I really want that? Like, that's how I shop. I don't get to just be like, yeah, Sasha wants this. Yoink! No, I can't shop like that. Because oftentimes I will regret it, so I don't shop like that. And so we went shopping. I did, however, get a new memory card for my camera. Now, that was justifiable because I really want to start recording with this. I had an 8 gig memory card and a 4 gig, but I don't know. It's just not enough memory for the show and for everything else. So I got a 32 gigabyte memory card for this, and this is a Sony Handycam. Now let me take a second to show you this. So this is a Sony Handycam, and I'm a tech geek at heart. So if I do this from time to time, like, it won't be a whole lot, but I'm a tech geek at heart. So the cool thing about this is it has a USB where you can it's in the handle of the camera, and you can just use it to charge your camera on your computer, and you don't need the cord, which is so awesome. That is just so amazingly awesome to me. Not only that, but I mean, it takes the amount of USB cords you have to have in your stash. Like, really, I have a tech stash, and I have a ton of USB cords in there, and it just kind of eliminates at least one. So the bad thing is that this kind of gets to a point where it doesn't go in very easily all the time. Like, it gets really loose, and you have to make sure that it snaps in right. But this is a Carl Zeiss lens, which is a really good lens. And you can see underneath it, it has a camera light. This allows you to add other attachments like a fisheye lens or a wide-angle lens to it. So that's another cool thing about this, is that you can add different lenses. And then the other thing is it will upload directly to YouTube, and it can also take photos, and it's really easy to navigate. The zoom button and the video and picture mode is right there. This is dead in a half, but you've got other modes in there, like your playback mode and your to turn the light on and whatnot. So there's all that, and that's not to mention the settings that are in the camera. It records in HD, which is another reason I want to use it. So anyway, to get back on topic, I bought the memory card for that. So look forward to HD movies brought to you by me, or the show will be in HD. So yeah. My hair is doing a weird thing. Anyway, so basically, long story short, all I worked on was my sister's paper, and the other thing I worked on is a bunch of different tests, like customer service tests, customer sales tests, junk like that. I used to work in 2007 for a really reputable travel agent company, which I can't say because I don't know if it infringes upon anything. But I quit to take care of my grandparents when they fell ill. And in 2010, when my grandfather needed around-the-clock care, they went to go live in a facility, a nursing facility. And then when they left, aside from losing them, I also lost my job. So I've been out of work completely since 2010. And so I've been looking like crazy to find work. And I've been to various vocational schools and job developers and all this other bullcrap to try to find a job. And it just hasn't happened yet. So now I'm working with these other people who are supposed to help me find a job. But along with that, they want me to do these tests to prove that I can do customer service and retail and whatever they want to sign me up for. So there's like 17 tests I was expected to do this week, and that's what I've been working on like crazy. And personally, I think they're redundant because I can do these things, and it's like trying to take a test on the alphabet. Yes, you know what it is. Yes, you know how it works. But it's, anything to find a job at this point. I am moving in May, and, well, I'm moving soon. I'm not sure if it's going to be in May or in the summer, but I'm moving soon, and I need to find a job so that I can save up more money to move. So that's pretty much all that's been going on this week is academic stuff. So let's get into Craft That Whip. This week on Craft That Whip, I have one thing that I can show you. So I'm going to show you the one thing that I can show you, and that's it. I won't waste time with the other things that I really can't talk about or show you. So the one thing I can show you is this. This is my Technique swatch, and I really did choose a bad color to show you techniques on because I've been working on some different things. I started out with, and I really hope you can see this, so if not, I'll try and work on it in editing. But let's go ahead and do it this way. Okay, so I started with some garter stitching, and then I've moved into purling. I finally did some purling. Now the way I did this was I would knit 3 and then purl the rest and then knit the last 3 stitches. So there is purling in here, there's stockinette in here, just different little runs of different stitches that I've been learning. But I'm really proud because right here you can see there is purling right there. And I'm working on learning how to do different stitching. I'm going to start working on some seed stitch and some moss stitch coming up here on this, and it's been really fun to just kind of learn. And why there's so much garter is basically after I've done like a lot of purling and a lot of different types of stitching, my brain needs a break. Because it is to the point where it's like, I can't do it, need to go back to something soothing, so I'll go back to garter stitching. So that's basically the only thing I worked on. I actually made myself a whip day on Sunday, and I really worked on this like crazy. So this is what I worked the most on this week. And that's really all I have to show you for that segment because that's all I worked on. That's not actually true, but that's all I am going to show you this week. The Red Baron cowl, the knitting in the round, all that stuff I'll talk more about next week. Because this week I was just really frustrated with it, and I'll talk about it next week. So let's go ahead and get into Whirlwind, where I can talk about something that I like. Okay, so in Whirlwind, we have my first cop of my merino. Bam! So there it is. This is the first cop of the merino that I've been spinning, and I like it. It's like a nice single, a nice thin single. I don't want to pull it off the cop because the last thing I want to do is have to roll this all again. But there's a little bit of it, and it's pretty consistent. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm guessing this is kind of like a worsted weight, or at the very least, a sport weight. If I applied this, I'm sure it'll be bulky or like errant, but I'm pretty happy with this, and I really don't want to apply it. There are some thin spots, like on the top here, but I'm pretty happy with this and don't really want to apply. One reason I don't want to apply it is because I didn't weigh it out. I really couldn't weigh it out. I didn't have a way to weigh it out, so I didn't weigh it out. What I did was I laid out all the fiber that I had purchased, and I just divided it in half. And then from those halves, I took the pieces that I gave to Amber. Now, I don't know if it's equal or not, so I don't know how that's going to work for plying. So my best bet is to not try and ply it, because then I will end up with many different lengths of fiber, spun fiber that I can't ply. So I just, rather than plying it, I'm not going to. I'm probably just going to leave it as singles. Because I'm spinning, I used to spin a bulky single, but now I'm actually spinning more of a worsted single. And I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm just going to leave it alone. So let me show you what's on the spindle, and then I'll get into something that I have planned for you guys for later in the show. Okay, so for beginners, this is how I did my bottom whorl, and this is the first time I've used my bottom whorl, so I'm kind of filling it out. And so what I did for my bottom whorl is I spun a leader yarn, and then I spun it long enough to tie under here. So I tied under the whorl. I tied under the whorl on the bottom with a couple of half hitches, and then I made sure that the yarn was long enough to come all the way up to the hook where I could start spinning. So that way I had a long leader cord that could tie under the whorl. And what it does for me is it stabilizes the whorl while it's spinning, and I just think it looks nicer, and it's helped me be able to work without a leader yarn. Because this was actually spun from the merino. So I spun a lot, actually. I didn't really knit, but I did spin a whole lot. So yeah, so that was the spinning I did this week. So let's go ahead and get into something that I'm going to call a beginner's whorl, spelled W-H-O-R-L-D. And this is where I'm going to address some of the beginners that are asking questions in the group. And so if you're advanced and you don't really want to watch this segment, I totally get it. You can fast forward. I don't think that there's much else after this, but you can fast forward if you like. Or if you would like, you can also watch and correct anything I might have gotten wrong. So yeah, here we go. So this is called a beginner's whorl, and in this segment I'm talking about manipulation of your singles and how you can get a thicker single versus a thinner single, and I'm mainly talking about top whorl versus bottom whorl spindles. This is to address someone in the group who was talking about the fact that they think that they're spinning their singles really thin, and how they can probably get a thicker single if that is what they're requiring. So go ahead and watch this segment, and then come back and we'll finish out the show. Hi, and welcome to Beginner's Corner, or whatever I decide to call this segment. Probably the Beginner's Whorld, W-H-O-R-L-D, because I'm punny like that. I'm just spinning this piece of fiber up for demonstrative purposes, and then we'll get started. So, I was like, why isn't it spinning? Because it's in my pocket. So, we're here to talk about, obviously, spinning. And what we're mostly here to talk about is manipulation of the spindle to get the size of single you want. This is for my top whorl. And I will go ahead and tell you a little bit about what I have read and learned. Top whorl spindles can be made to be lighter. They spin faster and produce a more lacy single than a bottom whorl. Bottom whorl spindles spins more slowly, produce a bulkier single, and are often heavier. In my experience right now, it feels like my top whorl is heavier than my bottom whorl. I don't know why that is, but that is just what is. So we'll just do it this way. Okay, so this is from my top whorl. And then here's my bottom whorl right here. And let me grab a slip from my bottom. Okay. Alright, there we go, perfect. Okay, so this is my top whorl, and the top one is the top whorl, the bottom one is from the bottom whorl. And those are the differences in the thread, or the single, I should say. So you can see the top one looks a bit thinner, and the bottom whorl is a bit thicker than the top whorl. So one way to get a thicker thread is to change the spindle you're spinning with. If you're spinning with the bottom whorl and you are getting this bulkier thread and you think it's too thin for you and you don't want to ply, or you would like a bulkier single, what I would suggest for you in that case, you change the way that you draft. I like to draft my fiber out a fair amount, so that way I can just let the spindle spin it up and just only worry about having to move it. I find that when I do that, not only can I do a longer draw, but it's easier to spin and it spins up faster. So what I mean is, what I do personally is I'll draft it out to be pretty thin. It's about like that. Pull that away. So I'll draft it out pretty thin like this. So that way when it's on the whorl, all I have to do is keep control of the spin getting into the twist getting into my fiber supply. And then basically it's just simple as moving it through. And there's no real drafting that I have to do. That way it spins up faster, and I don't have to worry about drafting, well, after I've pre-drafted, because I just pre-draft about as much as I want to spin at one time. So this is what I was using as my single in my demonstration, and then this is what I would join together with it to make, to spin it up. I used to draft out thicker, and what I would get, this is a good example, what I would get is something that was more like this, and when I would set it, it would just become really, really bulky yarn. Like you've seen my past sets and the past yarns that I've made, and they've been having really bulky spots. So what I've done is I've changed the way that I've drafted. And as you start to spin more, you'll kind of find out what works for you and what makes you more comfortable. And that's what I'm starting to find out, which makes me feel like I've made progress in the things that I'm learning, or the way that I'm learning. But changing the way that I draft has made because my problem was the exact opposite of my group members' question, because I kept getting way bulky singles and I wanted thinner singles. So I changed the way I draft, and I'm trying out my different spindles, and I'm finding that with a thinner draft and using the bottom whorl, I'm getting exactly the kind of single that I would like. If I wanted to use maybe a slightly thicker draft, I could use the top whorl and get that kind of single that I would like. The other thing is that I'm finding is that I could not, you saw the fiasco that happened when I started spinning the merino with my top whorl. It wouldn't work. What would happen is I would spin it, the twist would fall right out, and then it would just look like I was wrapping thin pieces of fiber around my spindle, and it was getting really frustrating, and I just could not do it. Then when I moved it to the bottom whorl, lo and behold, here I am spinning, and not only did it teach me how to draft properly, but it taught me, that different fibers play better with different spindles. And so let's say you're spinning like Corriedale on a bottom whorl and it's just not working for you, try another spindle. And when you're trying the other spindle, you might get another idea on changing some other technique that you have. So just play with your tools and find out what works and make some mistakes. And it's kind of been my mantra lately, is not to be attached to your outcome. So I hope that helped you. If you have any further questions, please let me know. If I confused you, I apologize. But check the blog notes and I will have a posting on technique, method, and drafting. And I'll talk about in writing what I talked about here. So just in case I confused you. So anyway, ta for watching, and I now return you back to your normally scheduled podcast. Bye! Okay, so I hope that segment was informative to you. If you would like, please leave feedback in the group at Ravelry.com, and just go to Chasing Spindles and join the group while you're there. And leave feedback and ask any questions you would like for me to address, and I'd be happy to. So that's pretty much going to do it for the show. There's really not a whole lot left. So I will close by saying you can find me on Ravelry, Plurk, Pinterest, Instagram, Goodreads, and most everywhere on the interwebs as Spin Pixie. So go ahead and follow me if you like and join the group on Ravelry. You can also find detailed notes in the blog at chasingspindles.blogspot.com. And that's pretty much it. So I will see you next week. And I will actually have things to show you. I didn't get into it in Fiber Frenzy. But I will have stuff to show you next week. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this short show, and I'll see you next week. Bye!